Water, as itself, the name suggests that it's a very important compound that is present in the entire universe. Today, we will be discussing one of the important property of water that is actually called as hardness of water. What are various kind of units of hardness? How do you express the hardness of water? And what are different types of hardness? If we consider a hard water, then it is treated as a sample of water that reacts with soap to form a white scum and does not produce enough lather. Then such kind of water is actually called as a hard water. Now, calcium and magnesium salts are present mostly as bicarbonates, sulfates, and also as chlorides. The difficulty in producing the lather arises because of the fact that soaps are sodium and potassium salts of higher fatty acid and are soluble in water. But when soap is used in water containing calcium and magnesium salt, the insoluble soap of calcium and magnesium are formed and precipitated, thus destroying the soap. If we look at the chemical equation, then the chemical equation of representing here is that this is the molecule of the soap, that is the sodium salt of the fatty acid. The fatty acid used here is stearic acid, so the chemical name of the soap is sodium stearate. It combines with the hardness that is present in water, calcium chloride, and as a result of the chemical reaction taking place, it results in the formation of the precipitate of calcium stearate and soluble sodium chloride. Now, this calcium stearate actually forms this scum. It consumes the soap, and now it is not available for the micelle formation, or you can say the leather formation. Now, if you look at the type of hardness, the hardness which is due to the dissolved ions which are present, dissolved substances, salts present in water, and basically they are of calcium and magnesium. And but these are not only the salts that cause hardness, there are many other salts which can also be present in the water. As a general rule, all soluble salts of heavy metal causes hardness because they form precipitate with soap. There are two types of hardness: temporary hardness, as the name indicates, it is temporary in nature and it can be removed simply by heating, and permanent hardness, as the name indicates, it is of permanent nature, cannot be removed by simply heating. Now, temporary hardness. The temporary hardness is basically because of the bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium and are decomposed by boiling the water when carbonates are formed which are less soluble. Thus, the hardness due to bicarbonate can be removed by boiling. The hardness due to these salts is called as the temporary hardness, as magnesium carbonate is only partially precipitate. The term carbonate hardness is now used instead of the temporary hardness. Permanent hardness, as the name indicates, it is of permanent nature in the terms that heating cannot remove such kind of hardness. It arises because of the sulfates and chlorides of calcium, magnesium. They are not removed by boiling, and the hardness due to this is called as a permanent or the non-carbonate hardness. The permanent hardness consists of non-carbonate base metal salts and does not precipitate out of heating. Now, the main thing is that how to express the hardness and unit. That is, our main aim here is to discuss the point that different sample of water have different amount of substances present in it. So, how can you assure that which of the substance contains a greater value of the salt and the other has a less salt, and which is the better, which is less, and there should be a scale so as to compare this leather forming capacity, which is actually called as the hardness. So there should be certain units so as to have a uniformity while expressing this property. So hardness of water is expressed in terms of equivalent amount of calcium carbonate, since this mode permits the multiplication and division of concentration when required. The choice of calcium carbonate, here we are using calcium carbonate. So the choice of calcium carbonate in particular is due to its molecular weight being 100, and moreover it is the most insoluble salt that can be precipitated in water treatment. Now there are different units of hardness. The first is the parts per million. 1 million stands for 10 raised to power 6 parts.